Coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. The past met the present during the Centennial celebration in Eastend. Current and past residents of Ponteix gathered over the August-long weekend for this Southwest Community Centennial celebration. Despite the forecast calling for rain, Leader and area residents gathered for the annual Wild West Daze. The 7th annual Chautauqua Summer Theater Festival drew in crowds throughout the weekend, as an array of one-act plays and other entertainers took to the stage. With the branding ceremony completed, the 76th annual Frontier Days was officially launched, kicking off 4 days of exciting entertainment. Thanks for joining us here today. On this special episode of Southwest TV News, we take a look back at our annual Summer Around the Southwest tour. We make our first stop in Eastend. The past met the present during the Centennial celebration in Eastend. Over 100 entries took to the streets in the Centennial Parade, bringing a smile to many in the crowd. The milestone celebration brought together an elite group of dignitaries for the opening ceremony, including the province's lieutenant governor, local government representatives, and the mayor of Harlem, Montana. A weekend celebration which the town's mayor says reflects the community as a whole, and why it continues to be such a drawing card for many.
The people. There's nothing else to say. I mean, obviously it has a gorgeous location. It's very bucolic when you're here coming down into the valley. We have the geography to do with it. We have the topography, but it's the people that make it. And we have a very vibrant community because we have the oil and the gas, and we have the farming and the ranching which started. But now we have a vibrant arts community. People love to come here for writers, sculptures, all that type of thing. So it's just the whole mix of people that makes it such a wonderful place.
A sentiment which is echoed by many who now call Eastend home. Tria Jensen is originally from Calgary and moved to Eastend in 2007, and says the Centennial continues to build the community pride she was originally attracted to.
Everybody's on the same wavelength of beautifying the town, getting ready, just bringing more and more energy into why they love this town, and then when the family and friends come here and they all get together and everybody's in a really good mood. Everybody loves each other, everybody's partying and having a good time, and that really lingers after a while.
Those who came home for the Centennial were also treated to the farmers market in the newly opened town square, along with an array of unique activities, including rides on this monster truck from Medicine Hat.
There's 10 that fit in the back, and then once in a while, usually if there's like a single child or something at the end of the night, we'll throw them in the front. There's a passenger seat in there, so they get a special ride at the end of the day.
While others maintain their traditional roots of the ranching lifestyle with the Mini Chuckwagon races.
The horses are all miniature horses. They're 36 inches and shorter at the last hair on the mane. They all think that they're running thoroughbreds. You can't tell them they're 36 inches. They all believe they're 17 hands. Try and hold them and convince them otherwise. They'll put on a good show, that's for sure. There's 4 horses per team. You do the figure 8 just like the big Chuckwagons. We don't have any outriders. That is the difference.
A well-rounded weekend of celebration in the community of Eastend, while setting the course for the next 100 years. Southwest TV News is hitting the road with our annual Summer Around the Southwest tour, covering a variety of exciting events across the region. The Southwest TV News Summer Around the Southwest tour is proudly brought to you by Innovation Credit Union. Imagine the possibilities. 2014 is a big year for Centennials across the region, and our Southwest TV News crew caught up with the community members of Ponteix during their celebration weekend. Current and past residents of Ponteix gathered over the August-long weekend for this Southwest Community Centennial celebration. Over 1,100 guests were registered for the Saturday banquet at the local rink, which served up a hearty meal, and gave many in the crowd a chance to meet up with old acquaintances.
Well, it's pretty nice because we get to see a lot of old friends that we went to school with, and their parents and their families. It's pretty cool. It's really nice. It's great to see everybody.
It feels great to be back. Yeah, there's some things have changed, but a lot of it is still the same, and lots of wonderful faces from the past and from school and from when we lived here. So yeah, it's great to see everybody.
A weekend celebration which came to light through a group of dedicated volunteers and their efforts over the past year.
Oh, it's great. Like, everyone's so happy to see people they haven't seen for a long time, and to come back and see a town that looks great, you know, and they're still proud of the town itself.
One of the highlights of the Centennial celebration was the performance by the Calgary Renaissance Choir. This 24-member group specializes in music from the 1400s through the 1600s. And choir director Jane Perry says Ponteix was the perfect setting.
It's an incredible acoustic. I'm not sure that there's anything like this in Calgary. So for us, it's being choral singers and choral geeks. We're like kids in a candy store walking into this kind of an acoustic. It's a sort of place where if I sing a note out into the environment and then stop, that note will stay hanging in the air for another 3.5 seconds. And that makes it perfect for the style of music that we sing, because of course a lot of these European cathedrals were built in a similar style with a similar acoustic. So for us, musically speaking, it's like coming home.
The community of Ponteix is located approximately 1 hour south of Swift Current and is a must-stop in your travels through the Southwest. Another exciting season of Market Square returns to downtown Swift Current, featuring live entertainment, fresh garden produce, crafts, and other unique vendors. Market Square, every Saturday at the corner of Central and Chaplin. Presented by Standard Motors, in partnership with Innovation Credit Union and Southwest TV News. The town of Leader is always a favorite stop in our annual Summer Around the Southwest tour, as crowds line up for the sweet taste of Grevel. Despite the forecast calling for rain, Leader and area residents gathered for the annual Wild West Daze. The weekend showcased the theme of Rockin' the Wild West and included a variety of entries in Saturday's parade. The hungry crowd then gathered at the Friendship Center for a traditional delicacy known as Grevel. And as the crowd grew, things were heating up in the kitchen.
No, we need another guy. Go.
Ella Eichhorn is a master Grevel maker and leads these volunteers year after year making this sweet dessert.
How many years have you been making Grevel?
I would say about 25 to 30 years.
And how did you actually learn how to make them?
Well, that's just that's a German dish, and that was brought in from the old country, I guess. How they used to do it, that's all I know.
And the town's mayor was also lending a hand, as batch after batch of Grevel was deep fried in vegetable oil.
I just started doing that last year and this year because we have a new cooker, so they needed help. So I took that on that job, and I enjoy it. Oh yeah, it's about a minute. We can do a minute, 8 in a minute, 8 at a time in a minute.
As the many patrons enjoyed the activities at the Wild West Daze throughout the weekend, the community spirit continues to build with more new families moving to Leader, strengthening events such as this and ensuring the longevity of the community.
We have our inland terminal here is a very big employer, and so a lot of people have come back to do that. We have a lot of people working with the gas industry out at the Empress gas plants, and there's a number of them coming back to even farm, take over the farms. So yeah, they're picking up jobs around Leader that people are retiring from, and they're coming back home to fill in those jobs, and it's really very nice to see all the young families.
A positive trend for the town, which is reflected in the construction of a new playground. A new Blue Imp play structure will be assembled by local volunteers on this land near the town's pool in the coming days. A project which will help in attracting more young families to the community.
I feel that we're growing and we're just getting better every day. You know, our youth we've got more young people now than we did a decade ago. And yeah, that's my generation, and we're going to keep this town alive.
The community of Leader is located approximately 1 hour northwest of Swift Current. And the Wild West Daze is one of our many stops in our 9th annual Southwest TV News Summer Around the Southwest tour. International performers make their way to Swift Current every summer for the annual Chautauqua Festival, and this year's showcase was another hit. The 7th annual Chautauqua Summer Theater Festival drew in crowds throughout the weekend as an array of one-act plays and other entertainers took to the stage. As patrons passed through the door, they were taken back in time with the Marvels and their ragtime melodies. Crochet doily table settings, lemonade, and homemade pie. On stage, local entertainers opened each set, showcasing their music and theatrical talents. The main attractions followed with a diverse lineup of storytelling for all audiences. The Australian duo Super Musician entertained the crowd with their portrayal of the classic rock star. From family drama, personal vices, to outrageous showmanship, Astric and Otto brought the house down with their punk rock-style musical comedy. Emily Windler was another crowd favorite throughout the weekend with her one-act play, Gary Has a Date, the story of a shy, fumbling character preparing for his dream date. A storyline which Windler says many in the audience will likely relate to when it comes to the realm of dating.
I just came up with a character actually for a project at school and in my master's program, and so I just thought, this guy is just real weird and funny, and I want to see him trying to get ready for, I want to see him in the dating world, so, which I thought was funny. and so then came Gary Has a Date.
A well-rounded showcase of entertainment, which will see most of these acts hitting the road across Canada this summer, with stops at other festivals in Winnipeg, Saskatoon, and Vancouver, with festival organizers encouraging new and former patrons to enjoy Chautauqua.
It's the only live professional theater festival in Southwest Saskatchewan. It's essentially a fringe festival, but it's better than a fringe festival because A, it's here in Swift Current, and B, we have local openers and we have pie and we have lemonade. So, these shows, the bulk of them are all going to the Winnipeg Fringe Festival, and they're gonna tour there for a week, and then they're going to the Edmonton Fringe Festival and Ottawa and Victoria and all over the place. So basically, we get world-class traveling theater performances, and actually our closing show tonight, they're from Australia, and they do the fringes all over the world, like Edinburgh and Adelaide and all the big ones in the States.
The Chautauqua Summer Theater Festival is hosted by the Lyric Theater every July, acting as a springboard for many entertainers kicking off their summer tour. Frontier Days was a crowd favorite as it coincided with Swift Current Centennial Homecoming Weekend. We bring you all the highlights in this report. With the branding ceremony completed, the 76th annual Frontier Days was officially launched, kicking off 4 days of exciting entertainment. A Western tradition which has been adopted from other events such as Agribition.
Well, we did it last year, and so we're doing it again this year, and it's kind of a great kickoff. Mayor Schaefer did a good job. He had a real good brand. I think we'll bring him out to the branding at our ranch next year.
Throughout the weekend, Frontier Days offered an array of activities for the entire family, from the classic rodeo, livestock shows, to the midway. With the main highlight, the always popular Frontier Days Parade, which saw spectators lining the streets to catch a glimpse of the over 125 entries from Swift Current and outlying communities. Coinciding with Frontier Days was Swift Current Centennial Homecoming Weekend, which started with the Welcome Home get-together in the Siga tent. A highlight which Saskatchewan's Premier Brad Wall and the MLA for Swift Current was pleased to be a part of.
Well, it's the center for Southwest Saskatchewan. We've had a lot of exports all over Canada and the world who've gone on to great things in the arts and culture and business, created a lot of jobs, and then we have the community itself here that's growing now and just providing a great center for this region of the province.
The downtown core also offered non-stop entertainment, welcoming current and past residents home for the Centennial. Memorial Park was a hub of activity with a family fun center, offering games, face painting, food, and more. A showcase event which corporate sponsor Stark & Marsh was eager to participate in, with 30 staff volunteering for the day.
Well, I think at the end of the day, we're a member of the community and have been for a long period of time. Our history dates back to 1921, and you start talking about 100 years as a city, I guess we've been involved in a lot of it. So we thought this is what a better opportunity to kind of help out the community, put on an event, and just another opportunity for people to come out to enjoy one of the parks in Swift Current. There's so many of them, and they're all so beautiful. What a great opportunity to do it. So it's a lot of fun.
And as Market Square offered patrons an array of entertainment, food, and other vendors, car enthusiasts were drawn to the Zero block of Central Avenue for the show and shine. Joan Jackson of Cabery and her 2010 Chevy Camaro stood out at the show, a car which has a sentimental meaning for Joan.
It actually belonged to my fiance that passed away a couple of years ago, and he put a lot of aftermarket additions onto the car, like the Lamborghini doors, and he got it supercharged. And then he took it to Saskatoon to Performance Plus, and they put a meth injection system on it. So it'll run about 600 horse or more now, so it doesn't take long to get that car up to many miles an hour in a very short period of time. Then when it's about 14 years from now, it goes to his grandson. So he will inherit a very well-kept vehicle.
A full schedule of activities throughout the weekend, including Indians baseball out at Mitchell Field, while showcasing Swift Current's welcoming spirit and community pride.
Well, you know what, I think we're overflowing with community spirit, and that's almost the case week in, week out in Swift Current. I mean, we saw it last weekend with the Kite Festival, and this weekend, of course, and this has been years in the making.
Frontier Days and the Centennial Homecoming Weekend all honored long-standing traditions, welcomed home former alumni, and looked towards the future.
Well, I think it's important for us to recognize Swift Current for the city that it is. It's it's a great little city, and people comment on that all the time, whether they're from Swift Current or they are driving through. They always say, "What a great little city," And so I think it's good for us to recognize that and just think about where we've come from and some of the hurdles and challenges that we've overcome, and looking forward to the future. Right? That's what it's all about, is building something better for the future.
Swift Current's year-long Centennial celebrations will culminate on November 29th with a light parade, coinciding with the DBA's Christmas tree lighting. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at MyLocalTV.ca. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.